welcome to UTHC TV studios. This is episode number 13. It is Saturday, September the 10th, and it is 10 a.m. So welcome back to our third English episode. I'm here again with Lecia.
Hi everyone, good morning.
Good morning.
Hope everyone got some sleep. I didn't.
No, we haven't gotten much sleep,
No.
but thank goodness we have excellent coffee. More about that later.
Plug.
Plug. So today we have so much to tell you about because today is a really, really busy day on the trails.
It's our biggest day, yeah.
Yeah, it's our biggest day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything, all our big distances have taken off. All our races, our big races, are taking place right now. So we have the 125 still out there, getting ready to go into their second hot day. We have the 80 that took off at 7:30 this morning, and then the 65 at 8:30, and then the 42 and 28s. 42 was also early this morning, and the 28 just left an hour ago.
Yeah. And we actually have different departures this morning. We had them depart in waves because, as we were mentioning yesterday, this year is a record-breaking year. We have 3,000 runners in all of our different race courses. And so just to dilute a little bit, because a lot of this is single track, so we want to make sure that there isn't too much traffic, and so we've made sure that all the departures have started at different times. So if you're following somebody on the 80, for example, if they were part of the second or third wave, just wait until the information comes in, because not everybody left at exactly the same time. I think it's important to mention that if you're following specific runners.
That's right. And on that note, with live trail, as we experienced yesterday with the 125, it took a while for the technology to kick in, just because we're in rugged backwoods here, but it will kick in. We're confident that we're going to start seeing some live results as we did with the 125 yesterday. It's just there's just a little delay, but it came through very strong.
Yeah, it's something that we forget, but this is really rugged backcountry terrain. There's a lot of places where we have no cell phone connection. We ourselves at these beautiful studios, we'd love to be at the arrival at Mont Grand Fond, but we can't because there's simply not enough technology possibilities. So we're a little bit further away than we'd like, but we are doing the best with what we have, and it's working out pretty well.
Yeah, we have electron runners out in the field, getting data, getting videos, which we have some to show you, as a matter of fact. So that's like our dependable information, and that's getting uploaded all
as
the time.
We speak,
Our social media team is working hard for.
And it's 10 a.m. as we were saying. It's not too hot yet, so
That's
it
right.
was a cool night. So that has apparently been good for some of the early morning departures, because we are planning on a lot of heat today, but so far we've been told that the runners are just flying down the trails.
Yeah.
And speaking of the trail, since the 65 and the 80 are on, why don't you tell us a little bit, because Lecia has run both of those distances, and tell us a little bit what the runners are going through right now.
The 65 was my first ever trail race, so I just remember it being more technical than I had planned for. There was the river crossing at the beginning, and just some long periods between the aid stations, and I know with the heat today, that might be a factor, because I know it wasn't that hot the day I ran, and it was a factor for me. So hopefully everyone's hydrating and they're filling up their bottles when they can, because that's going to probably be one of the limiting factors for the runners out there. For the 80, it was the same course, except it started with a really fun, pretty flat 20K, so I'm pretty excited to see how they do on that course, because that's going to be, I think it's going to be a fast one. We have some great runners out there.
We even have some videos, I think, to show.
We have the leaders coming through the first aid station at Driver.
Yeah, actually, I think we have the first video is of one of the wave departures of the 80K, so if we could show that right now. So that was at 7:30 this morning. It was still nice and cool. So off to a nice, fast start.
Yep. Yeah, it's a fast one.
Yeah, the first part of it you were saying is pretty.
Yeah, it's almost deceiving.
Yeah, I guess what has to be done there is to make sure that people, don't take off too fast and then end up having a hard time on the rest of the course.
Yeah, that's it. This is the lead pack, though. They're trying to get a a good head start.
Yeah, and we have some preliminary information as well. In the women, we have Marilyn Lacache, who, for those who don't know her, was supposed to be one of our lead athletes on the 125K. And because of an injury, she's now on the 80, and she is first place. And I think in a while we have a video. We're going to show them all two together, but we do have a video of her. And these are preliminary information because right now they would be at about past kilometer 11, which is the first aid station. That's where we got the information, and they are on their way to Coyote. So as things stand right now, we have Marilyn Lacache in first place, with Camille Girard in second place, and Marie-Maude Côté-Rouleau in third place, who's being paced by Johan Rock.
Oh, very nice. Those
probably wearing sandals.
Yeah, probably. Those are our Quebec favorites coming through, and Camille Girard has a long history with UTHC. She's a super volunteer. She was on the trails. You mentioned she was.
Yeah. She was part of the team that helped, open up the trails ahead of the event, like months ahead of the event sometimes, to make sure that we have the right distance, that we have the right that if anything needs to be taken out, trees, things like that. Because at the beginning editions, there was a lot of work to be done to maintain the trails. So she's one of the people who is responsible for making sure that everything is runnable as much as possible.
Right. So it's really nice to see her heading the race.
Yeah, we wish her good luck. Yeah. And in the men right now, Charles Castonguay is in first place, Jonathan Forget in second, and Frédéric Normandin in third. And I think we have a few videos of that as well, at least of the first men and perhaps some of the women as well. So this would be, I think, near the Brazza aid station. So there is Charles Castonguay, looking very strong.
Yeah, and he's
and they're pretty close. This is the second man.
That's right, because Charles, Jonathan Forget, and Frédéric Normandin, they were the top three, and they were running together, and it looks like they're spacing out a little now.
A little, but not very much so far. We'll see at the next aid station how that is. It's probably already really hot. Oh, and there we have.
That's Marilyn.
Marilyn Lacache. Yeah. So she doesn't look injured to me.
She's powering through.
She's powering through.
No, she's a strong runner.
Oh, she's a very strong runner. And as we said, she was originally supposed to run the 125, and upon medical advice, she downgraded to the 80. But she looks very, very strong on the 80K.
Yeah, and as you can see, there's no one behind her. She's got a pretty good lead. She's looking great.
Yeah,
awesome.
And this despite the heat. Oh, and here we have.
Is that Camille?
Oh, yes, we have Camille Girard.
Also looking great, powering through. So there's some of the trails that they're running through. This is still the 80.
Yes, this is still on the 80 course.
So they haven't met up with the 65 yet, but
surprising to see her in long sleeves because and then there's Johan Rock who is pacing.
Marie-Maude.
Marie-Maude, yes.
Marie-Maude, yeah.
I didn't have the chance to see. Did you see whether he was wearing sandals?
I didn't see him. Too fast.
A little bit too fast. So we'll keep you updated on what's going on. And as we said, there's a lot going on right now. So we might get some information as we go along. But a lot of excitement on the trails today. I think a lot of runners in a hurry to come soon at the arrival site before the big heat starts. Because
that's right. Yeah.
What was the weather forecast today?
30 degrees. 30 degrees Celsius, so it's going to be a hot one, hot and humid. Even though there's shade coverage and stuff in the trails, they're going to feel it out there.
Yeah, apparently the vegetation itself is moist. Yeah. And we're going to be covering it for you, and thank goodness that we have a lot of really good coffee to help us power through on this second very long day. And
delicious.
Speaking of which,
Capik 1, a man who needs no introduction, but we'll introduce him anyways. Ray Zahab, Canadian long distance runner, adventurer. He's traversed the Atacama Desert, the Sahara Desert,
Chile,
Siberia, South Pole. He's written some books. He's done some TED Talks. He's a pretty cool dude, and he's sitting right here, and he's going to come up and chat with us about all kinds of stuff.
Welcome, Ray.
Welcome, Ray.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you so much for having me. What if I tip this over? That can happen.
Oh, it's pretty heavy.
That ever happened before?
Not yet.
It's still early. Hi, Ray. Nice to have you here. It's great to have you
awesome.
here.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking time to come and see us in our studios.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for the coffee.
It's an honor to be here.
Yeah.
It's a great place to be. I mean, the energy at home base is extraordinary. I mean, this is why I say this. I'm going to probably get in trouble from somebody for saying it's the best race in North America.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. That's what they say.
He said it live on television.
Right? I love it. Yeah. Oh, did I say it live on television?
I think you did.
But I mean, the enthusiasm of the runners. We're serving coffee, obviously, at the race, and seeing people come through, how excited they are, talking about the distance they're running. But I think most importantly, like, we live in Quebec and we're here and we know how beautiful this place is.
Yeah.
For others to come and see and experience our wilderness and how gorgeous these mountains are and pristine the environment. The winner of the 125.
Elliot Carmen?
No, not Elliot,
Priscilla?
but Priscilla.
Yeah,
Yes.
Priscilla.
Priscilla and I were chatting, and she was, and her partner, and they were saying, we can't believe how green it is. Like, we just can't believe how green it is, right?
Speaking about the environment and the protection of the environment, you know that Ultra Trail Arikana is known as a very green event. So we invite everybody to bring their own cup to get that coffee so that we reduce waste. And we've won, actually the race won a prize for environmental stewardship. So yeah, thank you for helping us out with that.
We're doing our best on that, and we're trying to separate our grounds out from our our recyclables and that as well. So with the tons of people that are coming through, it gets a little bit difficult sometimes, but we're doing our best. So
yeah, that's all we can do.
Yeah.
So thanks. On that note, what's your history with UTHC? Have you run anything here?
No. But I've known Seb and Marlene for a long time, and always wanted to be part of UTHC in some way. And so when we created Capic One, which is in support of Impossible to Possible, this is my foundation. We asked them. We said, hey, could we provide coffee for the runners? And we want to provide really good coffee for the runners, because these runners are running some of the most technical terrain in this country, right? And they said, yeah, for sure. Well, we'd love to have you. And so they welcomed us immediately. And, it honestly feels like a match made in heaven. We love being here and supporting the runners. I coach Elliot Cardin as well. It's a sort of a friendship we have. And so I help him out with his running. So getting to see him racing which, by the way, did you see the videos of him descending yesterday? Moria?
Epic.
It's
Seriously?
insane.
It's like you may as well be on a mountain bike. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it is
powered
very
through.
crazy.
Yeah.
He said as well that it was so great, all the work that you've done mentally for the preparation, because he said that helped him power through during the difficult times, because it was a difficult course and apparently there was no time in it where he felt good.
Exactly, and that's the key, I think, in a lot of ways, especially with Elliot, an athlete of his ability, and so many others, is taking the time to breathe and just be in that moment, right? And understand the process that you're going through. Right? It doesn't matter who you are. You could be, Elliot Cardin, or you could be someone with the goal of achieving the distance before cutoff.
That's right.
So but anyhow, it's all the stories are amazing from here.
So this is all the things that you use yourself on your own expeditions.
Yeah, well, I mean,
which
there's been
are not
times.
easy.
Yeah, I mean, I've done 20,000 kilometers unsupported in the Arctic and Antarctica, the Arctic in expeditions in the middle of winter, crossing deserts. I've crossed pretty much all the large deserts on the planet now, and including the Sahara, 7,500 kilometers on foot. There's a lot of times when I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing? This is not fun, right?
No.
But then you get through the process and you move through and you appreciate that there's good times and there's bad times. And when you look back in retrospect at the entire experience, how incredible and life-changing it can be, right? And so it's a process. There's always a process, right? You just have to embrace the whole thing, the good and the bad. So expeditions for me, I mean, that's what I do. I used to race ultras, but now I do expeditions. My expeditions are all in support of Impossible to Possible. And for the people who obviously will have no clue of what Impossible to Possible is.
Tell us about it. That's the next question.
So we take young people on expeditions all over the world that are learning-based, and they're 100% free. So for example, we'll take 5 or 6 kids into the middle of the Amazon jungle. They'll run for 150 kilometers, visiting indigenous communities, learning about biodiversity. Then we use satellite to pump that into classrooms. 20, 30,000 students will follow. So they're learning through their peers who are the adventurers on this expedition. And we're creating relevant educational content that's around subjects like biodiversity or
weather,
healthcare or weather,
like
ecosystem
weather data,
services, anything. It could be anything. And so my expeditions are in support of the charity.
Okay.
With Impossible to Possible, it's free. There's no cost, and we're all volunteers. So at the end of the day, that's why I do what I do with my expeditions, and we at Capic One, it's a for-profit company, but it supports Impossible to Possible.
That's incredible.
If that's not too confusing.
No.
Is
No.
that confusing?
No,
That
it's
means
not
a lot of
confusing.
things.
It makes sense.
But, yeah.
Well, that's
That's
amazing.
fantastic. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. And I know you're a dad, and I see you running with your kids on the trails and
Yes.
on social media and stuff. Are your kids involved in this in some way as well? Do you-
Well, I used to run with my kids.
Yeah,
And
now they're too
now
fast for
they're
you.
too fast for
Yeah.
me. So I sort of run behind my
Yeah.
kids. But,
Yeah.
you know, they're involved in the aspect of, I mean, you know, to them, what I do for a living is I've always been an explorer. Professionally, that's what I do. So to them, I may as well work, you know,
Yeah.
in a cardboard box factory. It doesn't matter to them what I
That's
do, right? But I see them from the adventures that we do, and I'm trying to pick my words the right way, they're discovering their own passions. They both, one races sprint kayak, and the other one races sprint canoe. They do biathlon in the winter.
They're incredible.
I'm never on the water,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
I
Yeah,
am
yeah,
like, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
You know? But they do their thing, and they've learned through adventure, through being in these mountains. Through just 2 weeks ago, we were up in Morio. We were over at Mont Castor. We did the Morio Loop. We're trail running. We were here at Mont Graffon, trail running, and I'm like, this is where they're all gonna run. And you know, they get inspired by that, but then they're finding their own path, which I think is really important.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
No, and
incredible.
it's amazing.
And you have good days and bad. I mean, as parents, I don't know if you guys are
Obviously.
parents.
No,
but-
no,
Okay,
no.
so, well, I could trust me. There's days when you go out there and it's like the kids are like not having it, right? We just go
Yeah.
back and play Legos all day. I mean,
Yeah.
that's normal, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm an auntie, so I can give them back, you know.
there you go. All right. I love it. That's perfect.
Do you have any upcoming projects that you're working on?
I am.
Yeah.
And so I just finished a traverse of Death Valley,
Yeah.
west to east at its widest point,
Yeah.
hottest time of year in July, with 30K resupplies. It was very difficult. It was like
Crazy.
on the edge. To be perfectly honest with you, I can say it now, but when we were doing it, I was like, we're not going to make it. We're not going to make it, but we
Really?
made it. You know, like, I mean, you're right on the edge. You're running the edge. It's so hot there. It was like hovering between 45 and 50 degrees Celsius. And there is humidity in the mountains. You know, you're 30 kilometers between the resupplies, you're drinking 6 liters. You know, it's just,
Man.
but anyhow, my next
Yeah.
project is in the Canadian Arctic this winter. Something I'm very excited to be doing. And as I get my route nailed down, I'm going to be talking a lot more about it. But it's an unsupported project in January. It's going to be spectacular.
That's amazing.
And I guess we
is-
can follow you on your webpage
Oh, yeah,
and
I'll have all
on
kinds of stuff
social
on
media
social
for
media.
everybody
Yeah.
interested in these very relevant projects.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also have the time to write books. I don't know where you find the time or energy, but you're also an author. and you
Yeah,
have an
well,
upcoming-
so I have a couple of books that are old, and now I'm working on a new book. And so this new book, actually, I may as well tell you. So I've done 33 major expeditions I would consider in my life that are big projects for me. And on every one of these trips, whether it's the 111 days crossing the Sahara, or it's, you know, the 48 hours that I gave myself to cross Death Valley, there's something extraordinary that's happened, or that I've seen, or someone I've met, or some. Can I tell you a quick story about me?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
please do.
So I'm running across the Gobi Desert in 2013, middle of summer, 2,200-ish kilometers across the desert, solo. And I was seeing my crew, I was getting resupplies because they couldn't physically carry 2,000 kilometers of water. So I'm seeing someone every 30 to 50K.
Right.
And I was averaging about 70 to 80 kilometers a day, depending on the day. And I'm out in the middle of the desert, and I'm navigating in this 50-kilometer section across vast, it's very, there's not a lot of people living in Mongolia.
Yeah.
And I'm running through the desert, and I come down through these sand dunes, and way in the distance, I could see this person on a horse coming across the horizon, and I'm going in the exact same direction as this person. Who the hell's this person?
Yeah, no, that's weird.
So
Yeah.
we run into one another, and it was this lady, she's on this horse, and she's like, I'm looking up at her, and she's kind of staring at me for a second. We're both like, what the hell are you doing here, kind of thing. And she says to me, perfect English, she said, what are you doing out here? So I'm running across the desert. I said, what are you doing here? And I came to learn that she had moved from the remote, semi-nomadic life, moved from Mongolia, eventually went to Ulaanbaatar, the big city there, and then went to school there, went to college in the UK, university in the UK, but missed so much the wilds of Mongolia and living in the desert, she moved back to take over her family's, you know, farm. You know, they have 2 farms because it's semi-nomadic lifestyle. So the grazing of their livestock.
Right.
And I just happened to run right into her in the middle of the desert and meet this extraordinary person who
Wow.
I learned so much about the desert on that day. So I'm
I bet.
really compressing the story, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
So that's what this next book's about. People like that.
That's cool.
you know?
I'm glad it went in that direction because I was sure you were going to say it was a hallucination.
I
That
have lots of
that
those
was where
too.
we were leading.
I have
I
lots
was
of those, but those were back in my unhealthy,
okay.
drinking days and
are the
stuff like
old
that. Yeah, and the smoking days, pre-ultra running, right? A lot of hallucinations.
Different game.
Bad
Okay.
hallucinations.
Very difficult to imagine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm excited to read that book. I'm
Oh,
sure.
me too.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be good. And I know you have other projects going on with the Apple Ultra Watch and stuff. So I know if you guys please follow Ray. He's got so much going on. He's so interesting. It's a plethora of adventures and experiences and
Yeah, we could have stayed here